Have you ever taken leftovers out of the fridge, popped them into the microwave, and thought, well, it's just food. It can't hurt me, right? That's what most people believe. But for seniors, the truth is more complex and far more important. As we age, our bodies process food differently. What once was harmless might now cause discomfort, inflammation, or worse, chronic health decline. According to Mayo Clinic research, reheating certain foods can degrade their nutrient content, increase harmful oxidation of fats, and in some cases, generate compounds that irritate the gut and affect long-term cardiovascular health. The danger isn't always immediate. It builds up slowly, hidden beneath symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, or joint stiffness. Take Helen, for example. She's a 76-year-old retired librarian from Kansas City. For years, she believed her egg and mushroom breakfast was the healthiest way to start her day. But the truth only surfaced after months of digestive issues and unexplained sluggishness. Her doctor traced the problem, not to what she ate, but how she reheated it. When she made a small change, eating fresh breakfasts instead of reheated ones, her symptoms began to disappear. I believe your meals should serve you, not silently sabotage you. And this video is here to help you make smarter, safer choices without giving up warmth, convenience, or joy. So, here's what we'll cover. 3 reheated foods that strengthen your health, and 3 that can slowly steal it. If any of this resonates with you, I'd love for you to comment 1 below. If not, type 0 and share what works for your body. Because the more we share, the more we learn. It's easy to dismiss reheated food as harmless. After all, most of us have been doing it for decades. But for seniors, especially those navigating the unique challenges of aging bodies, this everyday habit can quietly accelerate inflammation, digestive discomfort, and even cognitive decline. According to the National Institutes of Health NIH, more than 60% of Americans over 65 live with at least one chronic inflammatory condition. While we often blame aging or genetics, food, specifically how it's prepared and reheated, plays a larger role than most realize. When certain foods are heated a second time, they can undergo chemical changes. Some lose vital nutrients, others develop oxidized fats or resistant proteins that strain the gut, heart, or brain. And over time, those tiny daily stressors accumulate, turning into something more serious. Let's use a simple metaphor. Imagine your circulatory system as a garden hose. When water flows, everything stays fresh and alive. But if the water slows or stops, sediment builds, mold creeps in, and pressure builds up. The same is true for your blood vessels and your digestive system. When your food contains inflammatory compounds, often formed during improper reheating, it slows your system down. Blood vessels become more rigid. Digestion stalls, and your immune system gets overstimulated, leading to pain fatigue or foggy thinking. Let me tell you about George, a 70-year-old former mechanic from Evansville, Indiana. George always had mashed potatoes with lunch. He'd make a big batch on Sunday and reheat it all week. But by Wednesday, he'd start feeling tingling in his legs, lightheadedness, and an afternoon crash in energy. His doctor first suspected prediabetes, but when a nutritionist asked George to try replacing those reheated potatoes with fresh, sweet potatoes, his symptoms improved in just 2 weeks. It wasn't just what he ate, it was how the food changed between the first and second serving. What this tells us is clear. Reheating isn't just about taste or convenience, it's about chemistry. And when we're older, that chemistry has a stronger effect. The body becomes less resilient, more reactive, and more sensitive to small shifts. What used to be fine now leaves a mark. But here's the good news. Not all reheated foods are bad. In fact, some meals, when cooled and reheated properly, offer even more nutrition, better digestion, and longer-lasting energy than when eaten fresh. The key is knowing the difference, and that's exactly what we'll explore next. Let's turn our attention to some good news. Not all reheated foods are harmful. In fact, a few become even more beneficial the second time around, offering improved digestion, steadier blood sugar, and longer-lasting energy. These aren't trendy superfoods or expensive supplements. They're simple, affordable, and probably already in your kitchen. Let's begin with the first one. 1. Lentil stew, the memory booster. in a bowl. Lentils have long been considered a staple of heart-healthy eating. Rich in plant protein, magnesium, and B vitamins, lentils also contain polyphenols, plant compounds shown to protect brain cells and reduce inflammation. According to the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, a high polyphenol diet is linked to lower rates of age-related memory decline in adults over 65. But here's what many don't know. When lentils are cooked, cooled, and then reheated, they develop something called resistant starch. This type of starch resists digestion in the small intestine and instead ferments in the colon, where it nourishes the good bacteria in your gut. That's important because gut health is closely tied to immunity, mood, and cognitive function, especially in older adults. The key is reheating it properly. Don't microwave it in plastic containers, which can release harmful chemicals. Instead, reheat lentil stew gently on the stove with a splash of broth or filtered water. Add turmeric or rosemary for an extra anti-inflammatory boost. What you get isn't just food. It's a brain-supporting, heart-friendly, fiber-rich bowl of nourishment that continues to work in your favor. The second time around, Tumas, steel-cut oats, a gentle warrior for the heart. Oats are often seen as a breakfast comfort food, but they're far more than that. Steel-cut oats in particular are high in beta-glucan, a type of soluble fiber proven to reduce LDL cholesterol. Mayo Clinic studies show that seniors who consumed 3 grams of beta-glucan daily for 12 weeks experienced a 5 to 10% drop in LDL levels, significantly lowering cardiovascular risk. But there's more. When oats are cooked and then cooled overnight, their starches change, structure just like with lentils, forming resistant starch. This helps reduce blood sugar spikes and promotes stable energy. Reheating them the next morning doesn't reverse that benefit. It keeps it intact. A warm bowl of reheated oats can be the perfect foundation for a healthy day. Add cinnamon to reduce inflammation and chopped walnuts for omega-3s. The result is a breakfast that doesn't just fill your stomach, but actively supports your heart, brain, and gut. There's also a psychological comfort to it. For many older adults, breakfast is the most predictable meal of the day. When it's warm, nourishing, and easy to digest, it can set a tone of self-care and stability that carries through the hours that follow. Quinoa with roasted vegetables, the muscle and mood supporter. Quinoa is one of the only plant foods that contains all 9 essential amino acids, making it a complete protein source. That's vital for seniors, especially those who are losing muscle mass due to aging. According to the National Institute on Aging, older adults can lose up to 1% of muscle mass per year after age 60, if not supported through diet and movement. But the power of quinoa multiplies when paired with roasted vegetables like carrots, Brussels sprouts, or sweet bell peppers. These vegetables release more antioxidants when reheated after initial slow roast. A 2021 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that certain carotenoids and flavonoids, powerful compounds that fight oxidative stress, become more bioavailable when vegetables are cooked, cooled, and gently reheated. The key again is how you reheat. Avoid browning or overcooking in the microwave. Instead, lightly steam or warm in a covered pan with a drizzle of olive oil. The result is a soft, flavorful, nutrient-dense dish that supports muscle function, balances mood, and promotes stable energy perfect for those managing fatigue or emotional ups and downs during aging. What's more, this combination is flexible. You can batch cook it, portion it into containers, and reheat it throughout the week, saving time without sacrificing health. For older adults who feel overwhelmed by complex meal prep, quinoa with reheated vegetables becomes a practical, powerful ally. What these 3 have in common. All 3 of these foods, lentil stew, steel-cut oats, and quinoa with roasted vegetables, share some key traits. They're rich in fiber, easy to digest, packed with anti-inflammatory compounds, and become more beneficial when handled correctly. Most importantly, they're accessible. No complicated ingredients. No hard-to-find spices. Just real food. cooked with care, and reheated with intention. You don't have to give up warm meals to protect your health. You just have to choose the right ones. And that's what makes all the difference. But just as some foods get better, the second time, others become worse. Much worse. Coming up next, I'll show you 3 popular leftovers that seniors should never reheat, and why doing so could quietly erode your energy, heart health, and even memory. Now that we've seen how some foods become healthier when reheated, it's time to talk about the opposite. Those foods that, when warmed a second time, quietly turn against your health. These aren't exotic ingredients or mystery meals. They're common beloved dishes found in kitchens across America. But for seniors, especially those managing digestion, inflammation, or heart health, these reheated favorites may be doing more harm than good. 1. Spinach, a nitrate bomb in disguise. Spinach is often seen as one of the healthiest greens on your plate. It's full of iron, folate, and vitamin K, but it also contains a high level of naturally occurring nitrates. While these compounds are beneficial when spinach is consumed fresh or lightly cooked, they become problematic when reheated. According to the World Health Organization, WHO nitrates can convert into nitrites and then nitrosamines compounds that have been linked to increased cancer risk, especially in the digestive tract. This process is more likely to happen when spinach is stored improperly and then reheated at high temperatures. Older adults are more vulnerable because reduced stomach acid and slower digestion make it harder to process these compounds efficiently. What you end up with is a leafy green that looks healthy, but may be fueling oxidative stress in your gut and liver. If you enjoy spinach, eat it fresh, steamed lightly, or added to dishes right before serving. If you must store it, use it cold the next day in a salad. Don't reheat it, too. Fried chicken with skin, a fat trap for the heart. Fried chicken is classic comfort food. Crispy skin, warm spices, and a satisfying crunch. But when reheated, especially in the microwave or pan-fried, again, the oils and animal fats in the skin undergo oxidation. This chemical process produces harmful compounds known to increase arterial plaque, buildup, and inflammation. According to the American Heart Association, the risk isn't just theoretical. Seniors with existing cardiovascular issues, high blood pressure, atherosclerosis, or elevated cholesterol are particularly at risk. Reheated fried chicken can contribute to increased LDL levels, stiffer arteries, and irregular heartbeat over time. Another concern is that many people store fried foods in plastic containers. When microwaved, these can leach endocrine-disrupting chemicals like bisphenol A, BPA into the food, a toxic double hit for aging hearts. A better approach. If you want chicken, prepare skinless. Cuts roast or boil them and eat them fresh. If leftovers are necessary, store in glass containers and consume cold or reheated in a gentle oven setting without the skin. 3. Cream-based sauces and gravies, a breeding ground for bacteria. There's something nostalgic about a warm ladle of gravy poured over mashed potatoes or a creamy Alfredo sauce on pasta. But when these sauces are made with milk, cream, or flour, they become very sensitive to temperature changes. According to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA dairy-based sauces, if not cooled and refrigerated properly, can become breeding grounds for bacteria such as Listeria and E. coli. Reheating them at low temperatures doesn't guarantee these pathogens are killed, especially in microwaves where heat can be uneven. What's more, the combination of animal fat dairy and thickening agents like flour can break down into acidic or rancid compounds when reheated, causing bloating acid reflux or nausea, particularly in older adults with slower digestion. If you love sauces, opt for smaller, fresh-made portions. Consider lighter alternatives like olive oil, tahini, or blended vegetable purees. They reheat more safely and offer better nutritional support. Final word on danger foods. What do these 3 dishes have in common? They are nutritionally unstable when reheated and pose higher risks for older adults due to slower metabolism, weakened digestion, and pre-existing health conditions. They're not always dangerous at first bite, but the long-term effects can chip away at your vitality. Silently, bite by bite, Fortunately, awareness leads to better choices, and better choices lead to better days. Coming up next, I'll share stories of real seniors who made small changes in their reheating habits and saw big results. Their stories might just inspire your next meal. It's one thing to hear the science, it's another to see it unfold in real lives. These stories come from everyday seniors, people just like you, who made one simple change in how they handle their leftovers and experienced profound improvements in energy digestion and overall well-being. James 72, from afternoon crashes to afternoon walks. James, a retired postal worker from Sacramento, California, used to hit a wall every day around 2 p.m. No matter what he ate for lunch, he'd find himself dozing off in his recliner, struggling to stay focused and often skipping his afternoon walk. For years, he blamed it on aging. But during a routine checkup, his doctor asked what he typically ate for lunch. It turned out, James often reheated a plate of white rice fried chicken and creamy gravy, all leftovers from Sunday dinners. The doctor gently explained how reheating starchy and fatty foods, especially in the microwave, could be spiking his blood sugar and causing an energy crash. With guidance from a local dietitian, James switched to reheating brown rice with steamed vegetables and lean grilled chicken. No skin, no sauce. Within 2 weeks, he noticed he wasn't falling asleep after lunch anymore. A month later, he was walking 3 miles every afternoon and even started volunteering at his neighborhood senior center. James didn't change his medications. He didn't follow a strict diet. He just made smarter choices about what and how he reheated his meals. That one shift gave him his afternoons back. Evelyn, 75, a quiet mind after breakfast. Evelyn, a former school teacher from Asheville, North Carolina, had always loved eggs in the morning. Her routine was to scramble a few on Sunday and microwave them throughout the week. It saved time, but something was off. She noticed increasing brain fog and a bloated, heavy feeling that lingered until midday. Her granddaughter, a nursing student, encouraged her to try switching to steel-cut oats, reheated with cinnamon and blueberries. Evelyn was skeptical, but willing to try anything. By the 3rd day, she reported feeling lighter and more alert. Within 2 weeks, her morning confusion had lifted, and her digestive discomfort was gone. Evelyn said she never realized how much the way she prepared food could influence her focus and clarity. Now, she considers her new breakfast a daily investment in both her brain and her belly. Luis and Rosa, 69, and 67, healing through soup. Luis and Rosa are a Mexican-American couple living in El Paso, Texas. After Luis was diagnosed with mild hypertension and Rosa with early joint inflammation, their doctor recommended reducing processed foods and being mindful of sodium intake. The couple had a tradition of making chicken tortilla soup every weekend, but they would reheat it all week, sometimes letting it sit in the pot for days at room temperature. With help from their church wellness group, they learned how to store soup properly, reheat only what they needed per meal, and add anti-inflammatory ingredients like turmeric, garlic, and leafy greens. The difference was remarkable. Luis's blood pressure stabilized, and Rosa noticed less morning stiffness and more energy throughout the day. Now making fresh soup is a joyful ritual, again only with smarter habits that protect their health. These stories aren't about radical overhauls or expensive treatments. They're about small, thoughtful changes that align with the body's natural rhythms. The way we handle our food, how we store it, reheat it, and even the containers we use can either support our aging process or slowly work against it. In the next section, we'll go one step further. I'll show you practical safety guidelines backed by the CDC and FDA, along with 4 simple habits every senior should follow to reheat food safely and confidently. Reheating food isn't just about convenience, it's about safety. For seniors whose immune systems may not be as resilient and whose digestion tends to slow with age, practicing safe reheating habits is just as important as choosing the right foods. Fortunately, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, in the U.S., Food and Drug Administration, FDA, offer clear guidelines to help you avoid illness while still enjoying warm, nourishing meals. Let's begin with 4 essential rules every senior should follow. 1. Reheat to the right temperature. According to the FDA, all leftovers should be reheated to an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees F, 73.9 degrees. This is the temperature at which bacteria like Listeria, E. coli, and Salmonella are effectively killed. Invest in a simple food thermometer and check the center of your meal, not just the edges, to ensure it's fully heated through too. Cool and store food promptly. Don't let cooked food sit out for more than 2 hours at room temperature. Bacteria can grow rapidly in the danger zone between 40 degrees and 140 degrees F. Store leftovers in shallow containers in the fridge as soon as possible, ideally within 1 hour. If the weather is warm, 3. Use safe containers. Avoid microwaving food in plastic containers that aren't labeled microwave safe. Many plastics contain chemicals like BPA or phthalates that can leach into food, especially under heat. Opt for glass or ceramic containers with lids, which are safer and retain heat better. 4. Never reheat more than once. Each time food is cooled and reheated, its nutritional quality declines. While the risk of bacterial contamination increases, only reheat the portion you plan to eat. If you reheat a large batch, divide it into smaller containers first, then heat only what's needed. To bring these tips to life, here's a quick story. Frank, 78, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, loved homemade chili. Every Sunday, he'd make a big pot and reheat it throughout the week. But he often reheated the entire pot, then cooled what was left again. After experiencing repeated stomach discomfort, his doctor identified low-grade foodborne illness as the likely cause. Once Frank started reheating only the portion he planned to eat and switched to storing his chili in glass containers, his symptoms vanished. The lesson? A few mindful steps in the kitchen can protect your digestion, preserve your strength, and give you more peace of mind each day. Here's a quick checklist you can stick on your fridge. Label all leftovers with the date they were made. Store within 2 hours after cooking. Reheat to 165 degrees and stir halfway through for even heating. Toss anything that smells, looks, or tastes off. Never use cracked plastic containers. These habits might seem small, but they help build a kitchen routine that's rooted in health, safety, and long-term vitality. And now, as we approach the end of this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned and how we can apply it in everyday life. In our final section, I'll leave you with a clear, uplifting message and a simple call to action to help you take the next step toward better meals, better choices, and better days. As we come to the end of this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've uncovered together. We began with a question: can something as simple as reheating food truly impact your health? And what we've learned is, yes, absolutely. You've seen how reheating the wrong foods, like spinach, fried chicken with skin, or cream-based sauces, can quietly disrupt digestion, raise inflammation, and compromise heart and brain function over time. But you've also discovered that when done right, reheating can become a tool for nourishment. Foods like lentil stew, steel-cut oats, and quinoa with roasted vegetables don't just retain their value, they become more powerful when handled with care. You've heard real stories of seniors like James, Evelyn, and Rosa, whose small shifts in reheating habits gave them more energy, sharper focus, and brighter mornings. And you've learned how to store food properly, reheat it safely, and protect your digestion with confidence. But beyond the facts and the steps, there's something more important: your choice. Every meal is a decision, not just about what to eat, but how to care for yourself. And when you choose to honor your body with intention, the results go far beyond your plate. They show up in your walk, your words, your mood, and your peace of mind. So here's my simple call to action. If you found this video helpful, comment 1 below. If you plan to try one of the healthy reheating tips this week, comment 2. And if you know someone who would benefit from this message, please share it. Subscribe for more insights designed just for you. And remember, every warm meal is a choice to stay strong, stay clear, and stay in control. One bite at a time.